so great I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with the king, no matter, you're just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes?
Good night, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite sports show, your girlfriend's favorite sports show, your father's favorite sports show, your little brother's favorite sports show, none other than this Justin. I am the Justin of this Justin. Sorry you're not going to see the Pretty Marsha boys tonight, but I am taking over hosting duties because we have an all-star cast, an all-star division in the NFC West. And you know, if we're doing the NFC West, then we have to go no further than Seattle. And if we are in Seattle first, we have to start with the G to the U to the R to the U. Welcome back to the show, my brother Guru. What is going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man, I'm in the building, baby. The best name in the world. This man, his name is Justin, and I'm in the building, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Let's talk this game. Let's talk football, baby. We back.
No doubt. And if we're talking football, then we have to do it with none other than Mr. Seattle himself. I know him as Calvin Domingo, but everyone else probably knows him as Steezy A. Smith. Thank you for coming back to the show, my brother.
My brother Justin, man. Thanks so much for having me on. Guru, pleasure to work with you for the first time, long overdue. And then Neil, shout out Neil, producer Neil, always doing his thing back there. Man, I can't wait to talk some football with y'all. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, for sure, Nate. No doubt. If we're talking the NFC West, then we got to get two Seattle guys in the building. And also, like, he is family on the show. I think he needs no introduction, but you know, my guy, Dwayne Marcus of the G.O.A.T Talk Podcast, almost like a sister's show for us. What's going on, Dwayne?
First of all, it's always a pleasure to be on the show. It's nice to be working with Guru and Steezy. It's been a quiet week for me. I've been doing some things personally outside the world of sports. It's nice to get back on the horse. I can sense I'm probably going to say some things that are going to make Steezy and Guru upset, but you know, it's whatever. I've got my personal opinions about the NFC West, but we'll get into it as the show progresses. Just happy to be here.
Well, then let's not waste any further time, because as much as we have two Seattle guys on the show, we're going to start with none other than the Los Angeles Rams, because it seems this offseason they have been getting all the love and the Seahawks have not. So, Mr. Seattle himself, Steezy, I'm going to start with you because if memory serves me correct, you have an episode up there kind of saying pump the brakes on the Rams' love. So, Steezy, is the acquisition of quarterback Matthew Stafford enough to put the LA Rams as true Super Bowl contenders?
So I'm going to give him a little bit of the flowers, just because if y'all seen that video, you would make it, or it would look as if I'm not trying to give him any of the flowers. But look, they did win against us in the first round last year. So, you know, props to that. You know, credit where credit is due. Initially, when they traded for Matthew Stafford, I was like, oh, boy, that's a massive upgrade over Jared Goff. And if you would have asked me this question a couple months ago when they acquired Matthew Stafford, if I'm being honest, I would have said yes. But then free agency came and go. And then training camp happened. And then Cam Akers was lost for the season with a torn Achilles. And then they lost Michael Brockers for a 7th-round pick. Then they lost John Johnson, who I think is the most underrated safety in football. Then they lost Troy Hill, one of the better nickel cornerbacks in all of football. Then they lost Brandon Staley, who's now the head coach of the Chargers. And now their offensive line is a year older. Andrew Whitworth is about my dad's age. And so all these things have happened ever since Matthew Stafford was acquired by the Rams. And so to answer your question plain and simple right now, I'm going to say no.
Well, I mean, I am not shocked by the balance that you provided there, but yeah, that is a lot of reasons to say that the LA Rams are not going to win the NFC. So I'll go to the other Seattle guy, and I know he has a lot to say. Guru, is that we should put the Rams as Super Bowl title contenders?
First of all, like, beautiful question. So I just want people to understand. This move was made for a Super Bowl move now. This was not no playoff move. This was not because Jared Goff already got them to the playoff. Notice Jared Goff already got them to the Super Bowl. So when they make this move now, it's about Super Bowl or bust. So can we all agree that? So when we talking about the Rams, we're not talking about winning no division. I don't care for that. We're not talking about our first-round game. We're talking about if you don't get to the playoff, then guess what? Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, you guys are at fault. That's this year?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Absolutely. So now, like you, just to add on to what you said, Stevie, like defensively, there's a change. Obviously, Raheem Morris is coming in. So we all know his defensive scheme. He's more of a secondary type defense. So you're gonna see a lot of nickels and dimes as far as their defense this year than you previously seen the other year. So you don't anticipate this defense to still be the same defense. And also, I think the Rams, the fan base and the media kind of skewed right here. Yes, this was a good defense, but this is nothing say dominant defense. Don't let the numbers fool you all last in the pandemic years. Oh, this is not one of the best defense in recent years at all. All right. So they have high level. This team-wise, I don't see them being a top 5 defense in this conference. And I think last year, the conference as well took a little step backwards, and that's why their defense really stand out. But really, the Rams got real high-tier playmakers, which is the best cornerback and the best defensive lineman, but I don't consider them as the best defense overall collectively. I anticipate the defense will take a step back this year, like I said, because of the new defensive coordinator. And like what you mentioned, they lost John Johnson, that was one of my favorite safety. People don't realize what he does as far as his IQ, as far as how he erased a lot of those blown coverages. You didn't see that with the Rams because you have a guy in the back end. Now, they got a bunch of guys in the back end. Terrell Burgess. They got your guy, Taylor Knapp. I don't even know Jordan Fuller. We don't really know who the back end is for the Los Angeles Rams. And frankly, just to finish it up, who was their linebacker? Who's their tackler? Mikael Kaiser? Who is their linebacker? Kenny Young? Like, real, who is the linebacker for the Los Angeles Rams to stop any other team as far as getting to the run, stopping the run this year? I don't see that, personally. I think the Ram defense is going to take a step backwards.
Well, Wayne, you like me are a huge Packers fan, so we got to see Matthew Stafford twice a year for 8 years now, if memory serves me correct. So we know how good of a quarterback he is. But is he that piece that has the ability to put the Rams as a true title contender this season?
Listen, when Matt Stafford was traded to the Rams, I had an episode on my show and I said that the Rams are probably going to make it to the Super Bowl. And a lot of my friends and my family said it was crazy. As a Packers fan, I can say this kind of like as an expert. When you look at Matthew Stafford, I think is in the same category of Matt Ryan, where he's a really excellent quarterback. I mean, Matt Stafford has, well, maybe not excellent, but Matt Stafford has consistently been, in my personal opinion, a top 15 to 12 quarterback in the league, really over the course of the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years. Now, if this Rams defense didn't lose a defensive coordinator, to a head coaching job in the same building, might I add, in the Los Angeles Chargers, if they didn't lose all these different pieces, are the Rams going to the Super Bowl? Probably not. Will they be legitimate contenders for the Super Bowl? Yes. I've never been of the mindset that the Rams are stamped to go to the Super Bowl. That's just not how life works, right? This is what happens in sports. We see these blockbuster rates, and we want to crown a champion immediately. We're doing it with the Lakers after with what they've done with free agency. We did it with the Nets last year after they landed James Harden. That's what we do in sports. We're crowning the Dodgers champions after they got Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. That's just how sports work. But when you look at this, let's think about this. The NFC West has consistently been, at least since Russell Wilson's been in the league, the toughest division in football. And this isn't like an NFC East situation where all the teams are bad. No, all 4 of these teams are like good to great. This is a very difficult division to play in. This is a division where the division winner, it's not a given. Like, you can go down the other 7 divisions in football. Yeah, the Bucks are going to win the NFC South, and the Packers are going to win the NFC North. And you can do that for the other 7. You can't do that with the NFC West. And it's not because all the teams are so bad. It's because all the teams legitimately at their best are really, really good. Is Matt Stafford alone enough to put the Rams ahead of the Seahawks, for example, to win the division? Sure. but the Rams won the division with Jared Goff. So that's not really the question here, as Groover mentioned. Is Matt Stafford enough to get the Rams, a playoff victory? Well, we don't know because Matt Stafford doesn't have a playoff win. It's really a loaded question and it's a lot. But if I have to answer the question, I would say that with Matt Stafford, the Rams have a better chance to win the division than they do with Jared Goff. They have a better chance to make it back to the Super Bowl than they do with Jared Goff. And if they get to the Super Bowl, they'll probably get trampled by like the Bills or the Chiefs. And so it won't really matter, but they won't get to the Super Bowl. So you don't have to have that conversation. But I think Matt Stafford gives the Rams a legitimate chance. We have to at least pause when you ask the question, can the Rams make the Super Bowl? Whereas with Jared Goff, it's just a definitive no. Now, you got to give it some type of thought.
I'll say this to put my 2 cents in for whatever it's worth. I agree with you. He does give them a better chance than Jared Goff for sure. And I think the move, and not to sound extremely biased, but I think Sean McVay realized this move had to come the moment he lost that division game to us, being that the Packers. And he saw because you've heard me say on the show over and over again, the offense that Sean McVay runs is the exact same offense that Matt LaFleur runs. So when he saw Aaron Rodgers and what that offense looks like, he's like, well, this is what my offense is supposed to look like with a proper trigger man. And clearly that trigger man was not Jared Goff. So it is no surprise that he went to the same division with Aaron Rodgers for the guy who has similar ability to throw from different arm angles and is also good at play action passes, etc., and can also throw no-look passes. Whether Matt Stafford is that guy that puts him over the top, the 2021 season will tell us all we need to know. But we mentioned all of the losses that the Rams have gone through, and I think Steezy A also brought up a big one in my estimation because I'm a huge Florida State University fan, so I know how good Cam Akers is or how good he can be. So we'll start with you, Guru. How big of a loss is Cam Akers, and how do the Rams overcome not having their star running back for next season? This season.
Hey, man, I got to do a plug, man. Y'all go check out my draft profile, man. Check out my channel. My bad. Because this year I did my, I do every year I do my profile, and I did my running back with Cam Akers. Y'all go check it out, man, because that's all I got to say. Y'all go check out what I said. This was before he got drafted and all that shit, and y'all see how I feel about Cam fucking Akers, man. That's how I feel about Mike. I'm sorry, I forgot. He just got married, man. See, I'm sorry, man. What? No cussing. I'm sorry. Dude loves to cuss, kids. But anyway, I love Cam Akers, man. And the thing that's why the whole Matt Stafford situation really before the Cam Akers injury. Because one thing you got to realize, what made the Rams scary last year? They switched. They became a running team. You know what I'm saying? All that the first couple years, that little Sean McVay, little quick, cute horizontal passing plays, that little everybody wants to the left slant, right? That's bull, that's crap. The league thing. Like, I saw the run. I'm like, you know what? This son of a gun finally realized. Because he tried to be a cute passing guy when the whole offense is based on a running game. Just like the Matt LaFleur. Kyle Shanahan made this offense. It's a run-based offense. But they tried to tweak it a little bit, but he came back to the run. And with Cam Akers going down, that's the deciding factor. Now, that's the reason why. Because I don't care about Matthew Stafford. This whole offense, this whole thing, this whole McVay so-called is based on a running game. All this success. Bro, you watched the film on this dude. When he gets to the 20 of the red zone or the 30-yard line, he's not the same quarterback y'all see from the 20-yard line to the other 20. I don't know how to explain it. It's right on film. He's not the same decision-making, and that's why you see how often do you see Matthew Stafford get red zone touchdown, really? It's usually an explosive play or some little design play. Once you get him down in the
it's not the Detroit fanboys that are against my Packers fan base getting rid of Guru and attacking Matt Stafford. Hopefully we get Guru back on. We'll have Neil in the background working to do that. But same question, Steezy, because you are the person who initially brought it up. Guru's back here. I will give him some time to set up. So I'll switch over to you, Steezy. Same question. How do the Rams fare without their star running back, Cam Akers?
Man, it's gonna have to be running back by committee. I got into a whole lot of arguments with different Rams fans talking about how Darrell Henderson is more than capable, and I can see that. I mean, in limited time last year, he was super efficient. Well, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry, but he's 5'8". That's my height. That's not a sign of a feature back in the NFL. And with Sean McVay, I think he thrives more when he has a feature back rather than having to run a running back by committee. And so Darrell Henderson, okay, he's efficient. But did we forget his first year in the NFL, he averaged 3.9 yards a carry? Did we forget about that? A talented quarterback, I totally agree. And I think Marcus was spot on. He said he's a top 12 and 15, which is absolutely on the money. Because I have a lot of Rams fans, a lot of people telling me he's an elite quarterback who's going to win MVP this year. But he's never been a top 10 quarterback in football. He's never been close to a top 5 quarterback in football. And so I don't think a running back by committee is going to solve their problems. Like I said earlier, I think Sean McVay thrives. His offense thrives more when he has that one feature back. I don't think that Darrell Henderson is capable. And now, I want to see good things out of him. You know, even as a Seahawks fan, I'm not rooting for a guy's downfall, but I don't think Darrell Henderson is built to be a feature back in the National Football League. And so they're going to have to compensate for the loss of Cam Akers by running a running back by committee. But on top of that, they're going to have to rely more on Matthew Stafford's arm. And with more volume for a guy who's now 33, I'm not sure that's such a good idea. And so to answer the question, I think he's going to have to compensate by, going running back by committee. But I know you see a lot of teams doing that now, but I just don't know if that's really a formula for success, especially when it comes to Matthew Stafford, seeing as how he had that in Detroit all those years.
Before I get to you, Dwayne, I'm going to let my guy Guru finish up his point. So go ahead, Guru, before you were finishing your point on Matt Stafford before you.
Yeah. Hey, it's just like I said, Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback, but it's like I've never seen. It's like when I look at the media, because he's such a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Matthew Stafford's a nice guy, never done anything wrong. But I've looked at this man's career. Matthew Stafford was a 5-star quarterback coming out from high school, bro. At one point, he went to the University of Georgia. They had the #1 team coming into the season. I've seen it. I'm not making this up, bro. I'm not telling you in no stack. I'm telling you what I've seen. I watched this with A.J. Green. I've seen that Georgia team. And you know what he did? He did exactly what he is. He don't know how to win. There's certain people in life, bro. There's winners, and there's guys that just, they just hang around, and they just hang around the situation. Matthew Stafford is not the guy that's going to lead you into winning. He's the guy that could be a piece to winning. But as far as, we're going to win now because we got Matthew Stafford, to me, winning just like anything like money's a trail. Winning lives a trail, dog. A winner has a trail. You don't just wake up, I just won. No, there's a trend of winning, brother. And what we're seeing with 30, we've seen enough data of 12 13 years. The trail shows loser. All of a sudden, you ain't going to wake up and all of a sudden be a winner, man. That's not the way life works. It's a process to it. And Matthew Stafford has never won. And in my opinion, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what anyone, what McVay, I don't see a winning bone in Matthew Stafford. I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? There's just certainly you've seen someone, and when it's like Shay says, when the rubber meets the road, I see big eyes Matthew Stafford, bro. That's what I see. His eyes get big, and the lights get too big for him, man. But guess what? After the interview, though, he's a nice guy. I let him date my girl, my daughter. You know what I'm saying? You come to dinner with me, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But as far as winning me a Super Bowl, nah, man, I need somebody with a dog in him. You know what I mean? I need somebody a little bit different than him.
Same question, Dwayne. As we know, this offense, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Arthur Smith, what they do offensively is predestined or is predetermined by what they do on the run. So without the star running back in Cam Akers, how do the Rams compensate for that loss?
Just before I answer the question, I feel like it's kind of weird. I'm a Packers fan, and I'm almost about to turn into a Matt Stafford apologist here. I think we're being a little bit too hard on Matt Stafford. I think we have to look at the entirety of the system. He played for the Detroit Lions. This is a franchise that passed up on several, I don't even know the right word here, competent head coaches to pick a guy that decided to be a good idea to wear a race car helmet to a press conference. Like, let's just talk about what we're dealing with here. Now, if Matt Stafford played for, like, I don't know, maybe like the Saints or the Pats or something like that, and he wasn't successful, I think all of this Matt Stafford criticism would be acceptable. We also have to remember he plays in the same division with Aaron Rodgers. He played in the same era with guys like Drew Brees, guys like it is if you're not the best quarterback in your division, you're automatically behind the eight ball. And we can all agree that Matt Stafford has never been the best quarterback in his division. Never.
He's not the best one in this division either. So
that's right. That's not what I'm saying. But what I guess the point that I'm making here is I think that sometimes we like to pin winning in sports. We like to pin winning specifically on an athlete. Like, this isn't basketball. You know, you want to, like, if the Lakers lose a ball game, 9 times out of 10 it's because LeBron James did something stupid, like he didn't show up. You know, or baseball or whatever. If the team doesn't win, it's usually because of one player. But in football, this there are 22 men on a starting roster, 53 men on an NFL roster at any given time. Like, there are levels to this. And as much as it pains me as a Packers fan to sit up here and defend Matthew Stafford, because I hate it. This is making my skin crawl. But I think we're being a little bit too hard on Matt Stafford. I don't think Matt Stafford's going to automatically turn into a winner overnight. I think Guru's point, you don't just wake up a winner unless your name is Patrick Mahomes and then you just go to the Super Bowl in your second year and then whoop-de-doo. Or Colin Kaepernick, who also went to the Super Bowl in his second year in the NFL as well. But as far as the question at hand is, how does LA overcome the loss of Cam Akers? Look, there's not a team in the National Football League today that has a successful running game by committee. I guess unless you want to include the Cleveland Browns, that would be the only exception.
I like the Colts too.
The Colts do have a solid backfield. I don't. If I would look at the Colts as having like an elite rushing attack, though, like when we're talking about elite rushing attacks.
Oh my God, this guy! Oh, that just
no. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying if we're saying like a top 5 rushing attack in the league, I'm not putting the Colts on that list. I just don't see the Colts in the top 5.
I don't know 3 more that you can put ahead of them, but that's just me. Go ahead.
Well, I'd say maybe 6 or 7. I think the point that I'm making is like a lot of the best rushing attacks in the league, with an exception of the Browns, are like featured by like it's one guy. That's just how it works. This style of offense, this offense that Kyle Shanahan runs, it doesn't work with multiple running backs. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It works with one guy.
Why did it work with the 49ers? They got like 10 backs over there. I'm like, I don't even know who the hell their back is.
That's true. Well, the 49ers have 3 really good running backs, though, and that they're like the exception. There's always an exception to the rule, and I think the 49ers are the exception to the rule. Like, they have 3 really good running backs that are very, very good at not just running the football. What I think is why it works is because they can also be split out wide as wide receivers, and it works just the same. The Rams don't have that. They just don't. Like, I'm taller than their starting running back. I'm 6'2". Darrell Henderson's 5'8". Like, the Rams would be better off with me as their running back than that. It's just not a good look. Like, it's just not. So how does LA overcome the loss of Cam Akers, I think they'll be just fine in the regular season because you can not have a good rushing attack and make it to the playoffs. Sure, there's 7 spots, and we all know in the NFC, only one of them is going to the NFC East. So yeah, there'll be 2 teams from every other division to make it to the playoffs, and the Rams will probably be one of them. Are they going to win a playoff game without Cam Akers? Definitely not, because Cam Akers was the reason why they won their playoff game last season. So they're not going to go far without Cam Akers, but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll win. I think they'll be second in the division, and that's going to be enough to make it to the playoffs, because in the NFC, you just have to be better than the NFC East, and that's really, really easy to do.
Well, thankfully, depending on who you're asking, they don't play in the NFC East, and it is a loaded NFC West. So for me, I don't know who will come out, but that will be the last question out of this panel. Shifting gears away from the LA Rams, and sorry for those Rams fans who are in the chat or watching the show, where we're going to go, over there to the other California team. And that would be none other than the San Francisco 49ers, who actually have a quarterback battle on their hands. And we kind of figured this would happen when you move up to 3rd overall and then draft none other than Trey Lance. So, Steezy, I'm going to start with you on this one. We've heard during the preseason that Trey Lance has comfortably outperformed Jimmy Garoppolo. But then after that 80-yard pass in his, preseason game, he looked a bit shaky. First, I'll ask you, who should they start at quarterback? And ultimately, who do you think they will start at quarterback? I'm not sure I hear you, Steve. I think your volume on. I think you're still muted.
Hey, my bad. Can you hear me?
No worries.
Okay. Actually, first of all, I just want to say apologies to I was calling him Marcus. I don't know where that was coming from.
It's fine.
Dwayne,
it's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I apologize, bro. But to kind of go off of what I was saying, I have the same answer for both questions. I'm going to say Jimmy G. Trey Lance he carries immense upside. I'm scared about the thought of him in San Francisco starting for the Niners 4 or 5 years down the line, maybe even 2 to 3 years down the line. But I think that right now, if they're looking to win a Super Bowl, it's going to be with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if he's the right guy to do it, but at least he's taken his team to the Super Bowl before. And yeah, he had the 80-yard pass, like you said, Justin, but he was a little iffy to say the least. And so I think that it's going to take some time for him. And for a guy who only has about, 300 completions at the college level, he's going to take a lot of seasoning. He's, 20 years old? So, it's going to take a lot of time for him to really develop and grow a rapport with the receivers here. But I think that with San Francisco, they're ready to win now. And so, yeah, it might be beneficial to have a guy like him make his mistakes now and then later on, maybe it'll pay off. But I think that with Jimmy G, this is his last year in San Fran regardless. And so, let's let him ride out the season. I think if we see Trey Lance, it's probably going to be because Jimmy Garoppolo is injured yet again. But I think he gives them the best chance of winning. You look at San Fran's record with him starting, it's well above 500. They win football games when he's on the field. When he's not, they don't win football games, plain and simple. And so for right now, I think they have the talent to not only win the division, but also compete for the Super Bowl. And I hate to say that, but, I'm not just, favoring Seattle in every scenario. I think San Fran is actually the team that I'm scared of the most. Not LA, not Arizona. It's the San Francisco 49ers. You look at that trio that they have at pass catcher, wide receiver, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. My gosh. I think that's one of the top trios in football, regardless of, wide receivers and tight ends and whatnot. It's just a trio of pass catchers that I'm truly afraid of. Trey Sermon, I think he's going to be a beast over there. Their offensive line is one of the best in football. Their defense, obviously, still top notch. And so I'm very worried about the Niners. But going back to your question, I'm going to say Jimmy G. He gives them the best chance of winning, and they're a team that's ready to win right now. So Jimmy G gives them the best chance of doing that.
Guru, obviously you may be feeling a bit ashamed that your Seattle guy is afraid of San Francisco. But for you, who is the quarterback that should start, and who is the quarterback that will ultimately start?
It's kind of funny, right? And I am scared the hell out of the damn 49ers. Look at this scenario, fellas. It's like just a little McVay-Shanahan fanboy situation, right? It's kind of funny. You also what the hell happened with the Rams. Jared Goff to me is Jimmy G. You know what I'm saying? Similar scenarios, right? Then certain scenarios, certain things, and then this hot shot. Oh my God, I need somebody with a big arm. I need to get splashy plays. So then McVay boy, I'm gonna get
Oops. Again, Chrome bashing thing, and the Shanahan coaching tree is not happy with Guru whatsoever. Hope he's back again. So here you are, Guru. Continue your point. So sorry, but you're angering somebody's fan base.
So it's kind of weird how he didn't like Jared Goff, so you got to get a splashy guy. So obviously that happened pre-draft. That happened before the draft, y'all remember. And then obviously Kyle is like, oh shit, I got to do something now. So he went to go get the other guy that got the biggest arm. Basically another version of Matthew Stafford in a sense. You know what I'm saying? He got himself a younger Matthew Stafford. But you know what? That's why the 49ers scares me a little bit than the damn Rams. You know, because they actually kept Jimmy G. You know what I'm saying? Because you kept that in-house to teach the young kid how to win, how to be a win, how to transition right there is very important. That's what the Rams failed to do. Man, you got a winner like whatever Jared Goff is, and then you brought a guy that's even worse than him as far as record-wise. It's just a total opposite. Now, you have it. I love the way they did it. Jimmy G. We know what Jimmy G is, man. He's a solid starter. He's a starting NFL. You know what? He's a starting NFL quarterback. That's what he is. You could say he's, terrible, whatever, but he's a starter. That's guaranteed. So now I will keep Jimmy G as a starter because he knows the game. He knows the system. He knows, and most importantly, he knows the NFC West, bro. There's no way you're going to put that young boy. I don't care how much ego Kyle Shanahan has. You want to think about a man with ego? Last year they sucked. I guarantee you, trust me, I got an ego. I guarantee you with everything I love, bro, he's not starting that young fella because he can't afford to not make it to the playoff this year, young fella. And you are not going to be a rookie quarterback. I don't give a damn if you're Trey Lance or Trevor Lawrence. A rookie quarterback is not coming to NFC West and make noise. I guarantee you that, bro. So that's why you got to go with Jimmy G because he will be an idiot to start a rookie in this division right now.
Real talk.
Well, so the two Seattle guys have gone with Jimmy Garoppolo. Is this going to be a clean sweep, Dwayne Marcus? Do you also believe that Jimmy G has to be the guy to start to give San Fran the best chance to win?
Just before I answer the question, I just want to go off on a little bit of a personal tangent here. Every time I come on this show, Justin, I always have to answer questions in favor of people I don't like, and I just hate it. I just hate that. I also don't like the fact that I've just been completely this is just a lot. Like I've got to defend Matt Stafford now. I got to sit up here and defend Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want to. Like this is just a lot. Justin, good. When you come on my show, I give you questions that are nice. I'm nice to you. You make me want. Okay.
Hey, he did it for us.
I don't throw alley-oops. I'm just not that kind of point guard.
God, it's like full court press. Just jeez. Okay, let's do it. So who will start? Jimmy G will start, and it's not because Trey Lance is a bad quarterback. It's just because it's we're kind of like past that era of starting rookie quarterbacks immediately. We're just past that. Look at some of you go down the list of quarterbacks that have started recently in their rookie season. Dak Prescott's one of them. Only reason he started was because Tony Romo blew his back out. Kyler Murray started. That's because the Cardinals suck. We can go down Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are going to start this season because the Jaguars and the Jets suck. They don't have a quarterback. That's really the only option. I think Trey Lance will be a starter this season. I do. This season, I think it could happen this season. I actually think that it's very possible that coming out of the bye, depending on what happens in the first, I think they have a week 6 bye. So depending on what happens in the first 5 weeks of the season, we could see Trey Lance trot onto the field in week 7. I think that's very possible, and I think that's actually what's going to happen. And the reason why I think that's what's going to happen is because, as to Guru's point, you cannot afford to start a rookie quarterback, a baby, a puppy, in this division. You can't. You also can't afford to gamble in this division. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a gamble. Let's face it. Jimmy Garoppolo, despite the fact that he's come from that elite quarterback room in New England with himself and Tom Brady and Jacoby Brissett, despite Super Bowl with this team 2 years ago, Jimmy Garoppolo is a gamble. Jimmy Garoppolo is not, to Guru's point earlier, a winner, so to speak. He is not a quarterback that goes in. Jimmy Garoppolo has never, ever been the reason why the 49ers have won a football game, ever. He just happens to be the quarterback, and typically what happens is the quarterback gets the credit when the team wins. Jimmy Garoppolo's never, ever been the reason why this team has won a football game. He wasn't the reason why they went to the Super Bowl. He's not going to be the reason they get back to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just to be honest. When you look at also the 49ers have been in this situation before. If you go back not too long ago, not even 10 years ago, 2012, they had Alex Smith. Alex Smith got hurt, and here comes a very dynamic quarterback, very similar to one Trey Lance. His name was Colin Kaepernick. What did Colin Kaepernick do in his first full season as the 49ers quarterback? He took him to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Trey Lance is going to take him to the Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is that I think that what's probably going to happen is Trey Lance is going to start next season. For sure. Trey Lance will be the starter heading into next season. But that does not mean that at some point in this season, we won't see Jimmy Garoppolo get pulled for Trey Lance. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, I think if it becomes apparent to Kyle Shanahan and the decision makers in San Francisco that making the playoffs or even winning the division is out of the question, yeah, they're going to put Trey Lance in there to get him the reps, get him some extra reps. Listen, his first I don't like to get all high about the preseason because the preseason isn't real football. But like, let's face it, his first game against the Chiefs, yeah, he had an 80-yard touchdown pass. He threw it 49 yards in the air, which is a pass that's completed only 33% of the time in the NFL today. It was his first game in 315 days, and that was a nice play. But as we've all alluded to, the rest of his game was just mediocre at best. He can use the extra reps. If the 49ers are flailing, which I think they will be, why not put him in there? Get him those extra reps at the NFL level. Get him those extra reps at game speed like that. You're not going to win the division anyway. Let's face it. I don't think anybody thinks, not even the 49ers. I don't think anyone thinks the 49ers are going to win this division. I think this is the Seahawks division to lose. I think it has been the Seahawks division to lose from the moment that the Russell Wilson beef died. It's just tough. But to answer the question, Jimmy Garoppolo will start. Jimmy Garoppolo should start. But I won't completely rule out seeing Trey Lance become a starter before this season is up.
Royce, you nodding, so it means that you do believe the San Francisco have a chance to win that division. So that allows me to segue perfectly into the next question. Were the 49ers, for whatever reason, either don't make the playoffs or are not competitive enough in this division, should Kyle Shanahan be on the hot seat or ultimately lose his job?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I don't think it's a hot seat. I don't think it's a warm seat. I think he's in a straight business class first seat, front seat, man. With the recliner up there. He's chilling, man. You know what I mean? Once you go to the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? You have a little bit of leeway. It's just.
Unless your name is Doug Peterson.
Well, we disregard Philly here. We talking about real organization. All right? We ain't talking about them. Don't talk about them Feagles. But at the end of the day, we all know. Come on, man. We know he's an excellent coach. You know, there's circumstantial situation. It's not about his coaching ability. That has nothing to do with that. It's not about his relation to players. You know, sometimes when you get rid of coaches, it's like there's reasons why. You could tell the reasons why. We can all see they had nobody. You know what I'm saying? The whole offensive line was gone. They had nobody. I don't care if you're Bill Belichick. Look what Bill Belichick did when he had nobody. So we kind of expect that. And when he do have somebody, we know the 49ers, man. Like Steezy said, man, they're the scariest thing. I can't sleep at night. I'm so scared of the damn 49ers, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. They are freaking scary.
Steezy, do you feel this way? Does Boy Genius have some more, leeway in his pocket? Or is his seat hot if they don't make it to the playoffs again this season? You're still muted there, Steezy.
Man, my fault. No, I said his seat's as cold as mine. I mean, I don't think that, he's in danger of losing his job anytime soon. They could have another year of a whole bunch of injuries this year. He's not going to lose his job. Next year, they could make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round. He's still not going to be in any danger of losing his job. I mean, when you look at offensive geniuses in the NFL, they come few and far in between. He's one of the few masterminds, especially when it comes to offense. And so you don't let a guy like him leave to bring in who? Who else are they going to bring in? What other candidates going to pop up that's going to have the name, the genius that he is? I just don't think there's too many coaches out there that's like him. A lot of people going to point to the fact that, play calling wise, he choked in the Super Bowl against the Patriots when he was with the Falcons. Oh, in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, he choked as a coach. Man, I'm not paying attention to none of that. I mean, he's a great head coach. He's a great offensive mind. He's one of the best in football. Like Guru said, I mean, he has a lot of leeway. He has a lot of margins for error just because he appeared in the Super Bowl. And I think that because he was a guy that handpicked Trey Lance, Give him a couple years with Trey Lance. Give him 2 to 3, maybe 4 years with Trey Lance. And then if that experiment don't work, if they don't come anywhere close to the Super Bowl at all, then maybe you reconsider. But he did just sign an extension, like a year ago? And so I think he sees the entire duration of that contract. I think that being that he's so one of a kind, you got other coaches in the National Football League trying to, scheme just like him. They're trying to be just like him. And so when you got other teams doing that, that's something special in your hands. And don't let that go just because you've choked or you haven't had the success that you wanted. I mean, he's one of a kind. So,
well, before I get to Dwayne Marcus here, let me just say, and this is not to say I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is a good coach. I just don't attach genius to him. And for the simple reason, I always say this, he just borrowed his dad's offense. And if you look, when everyone wanted to call Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan boy geniuses, Matt LaFleur does the exact same thing. So does Arthur Smith, and you're going to see it in Atlanta. So will you see it in New York with Matt LaFleur's baby brother, Mike LaFleur. It is the same offense that they all learned from the true genius, who I call Kyle's dad, Mike Shanahan in Denver. I think he's a true genius. And this is not to take anything away.
Justin, time out, real quick, man. Did you just said he got it from his dad? Excuse me. You got your faith from your dad. I mean, you act like that's a bad thing. Oh, he got it from his dad. Isn't that what your dad was to do? Pass you knowledge, make you be like, what's the negative here?
I don't think it's a negative.
My dad showed me how to be a millionaire. Ooh, I'm bad dad.
Well, it's not a.
Everyone is making it seem like he's this guy that came out of these plays from all over nowhere. And no. It's the same damn offense. He runs it. Sean McVay runs it. Matt LaFleur runs it. Arthur Smith runs it. And what do you see? Let us look through why you don't look at him as this huge genius. His father's won 2 Super Bowls with this offense. He's not won one yet. He's been to a Super Bowl with this offense. He's been to 2, sorry. Sean McVay has been to a Super Bowl with this offense. Matt LaFleur has been to back-to-back NFC title games. It's not it's not Kyle Shanahan. It is the offense that he stole from his dad that each and all of these Shanahan disciples have. So I am not saying he's not a good coach, but I do not attach the word genius. The genius is his dad. Genius is not him for me. But this show is not about me. It's about y'all guys. So please, do you believe, like the other 2 Seattle guys here, that Kyle Shanahan's seat is as cold as ice?
Again, got to defend people I'm not really fond of. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's seat is about as cold as a Russian seat. There's nothing. There's nothing. He hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Like,
hey, I don't know. I got beef with this question, bro. Who the hell? What is the producer? Who the hell thinks Justin is the hot seat, bro? Here's what I will say. Here's Facebook commercial or something. Like, what the hell?
Here's what I will say, and I think this is. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is on the hot seat this season. I think he'll be on the hot seat once Trey Lance becomes a starter. And the reason he'll be on the hot seat is because, as simple as this offense is, as successful as this offense has been since it's been in the league from the time it was introduced to the league with Mike Shanahan, if Kyle Shanahan can't find some type of success with this offense, with this new young gun, this dynamic quarterback in the era of dynamic quarterbacks in Trey Lance, then yeah, I think you got to look at Kyle Shanahan and say that he's on the hot seat. Because here's the thing, and I'll say it again: the NFC West is the most competitive division of football. You're not going to continue to. How can I put this? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Right. Okay. So yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl with this offense, but they didn't win it. So they're still losers. Right. They sucked last season. So what does that make them? Losers. If they miss the playoffs or they don't win the division or they make it to the playoffs and lose, they're still losers. Like Kyle Shanahan, as much as he is a winner, he's just that much of a loser. And if Kyle Shanahan can't figure out a way to win with this offense, if Kyle Shanahan cannot figure out a way to have sustained success, we're looking at a team in Green Bay who has been to back-to-back NFC Championship games with this offense. We're looking at a team in Los Angeles Rams. Although they've fallen off, they have still had relatively successful seasons since going to the Super Bowl. I would say with an exception of one. Kyle Shanahan, for all intents and purposes, is a winner, but he's still a loser. This is a difficult division, and aside from having a phenomenal tight end in George Kittle and a phenomenal backfield with the three-headed Cerberus that they have back there, the 49ers are losers. Like, they lose all the time. It's like the greater the stage, the bigger the loss. Kyle Shanahan is a loser. You up 20-3 in the Super Bowl, and you lost the game. All Jimmy Garoppolo has to do in the Super Bowl is complete one pass down the seam to Emmanuel Sanders, and he can't do it. And what happens? They lost the game. Like the 49ers are professional losers. If there was an Olympic sport for losing, the San Francisco 49ers will be gold medalists every single year. Well, actually, be silver medalists behind the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys have a new, they've just rewritten the definition of losing. But the San Francisco 49ers are losers. They find new ways to lose every single season. Trey Lance is a dynamic quarterback. He is phenomenal. I personally was very high on Trey Lance, despite the fact that he went to North Dakota State University, despite the fact that he didn't have the exposure of a Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, or Mac Jones or Justin Fields. Trey Lance is still a very, very, very good quarterback. He's a winner. Yeah, Trey Lance is a winner. And he's drafted to a bunch of loot. You don't get the number 3rd pick as a winner. No. You know who gets the number 3rd pick in the draft? Losers. And that's what the 49ers.
Hey, they traded to get to the 3rd pick, though. They traded. They weren't really.
They were 12 losers. You know who doesn't have the 12th pick? Winners. You want to be in the bottom half of the draft, like the Packers, because we're winners.
I could not have segued into the next team any better than that. I know Guru is having a blast, but we did not bring 2 Seattle guys on this program just to talk about the Niners, just to talk about the Rams. This is what they've been waiting for, the second half of this program. And I see Steezy nodding again into it. So I am going to start with you, Mr. Smith, otherwise known as Calvin Domingo. Your Seahawks were in or have been in the news countless times for the wrong reasons. So I'm going to start with you right now, Steezy. You've had issues year in, year out over the state of your offensive line. Has Seattle finally done enough with your offensive line and that defense to justify being labeled a Super Bowl contender?
No doubt. You know, when you talk about the offensive line, I think that too many people are placing way too much of the blame on the offensive line. Let's not forget, Russ Wilson's a great quarterback. Let's not forget, he creates so much magic in and out of the pocket, but let's also not forget the fact that he holds on to the football for way too long. And so we have an offensive line that's not the best in the league, that's also not the worst in the league, but you're making their jobs a lot harder by holding on to the football for so damn long. And so when that happens, they're going to give up a sack or two here and there. They're going to give up this sack, or you're trying to get out of the pocket. You're going to your left, you're going to your right. You're holding on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. You can't find a guy open. That's not always on offensive line. That's on Russell Wilson. And that being said, I mean, you bring in a guy like Gabe Jackson, right? He might be on the decline, but let's not forget, just a couple years ago, he was a Pro Bowler with the Raiders. He signed a $55 million contract extension, and he's a massive upgrade over Mikey Potty, who couldn't stay on the field, who couldn't stay healthy. So with Gabe Jackson, he's a pass protector first, run blocker second. He's going to help in that regard. Stone Forsythe, I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, but he's also a pass protector first, run blocker second. Shane Waldron coming in. He's going to help install an offense that's going to help Russell Wilson get rid of the football a lot quicker. He's going to get the football into the hands of playmakers. He's going to get the football into the hands of guys in space. He's going to get the football into the hands of more checkdowns, more shorter to intermediate route type of stuff. And so that being said, Russell Wilson's going to get rid of the football a lot quicker. You bring in a guard that upgrades, the pass protection at the right guard position. You bring in a tackle that's more pass-oriented than he is run-oriented. Yes, the offensive line is going to be a lot better. You look at Pro Football Focus, they rank Seattle pretty much close to the upper half of the league in terms of the offensive line ranking. Seattle's, I think, 17th or 18th. And so that's not the worst in the league. ESPN, I saw their rankings. Seattle wasn't among the worst. They weren't among the best either. They were just right in the middle of the pack. And I think that's perfect. You look at a guy like Dwayne Brown, who we're going to get into a little bit later. He's still a top 5, top 10 player at his position. Damian Lewis was one of the better rookies in all of football last year, regardless of position. He's only going to get better. Ethan Posick, that was his first season in the NFL starting at center. Yeah, he started at center at LSU, but last year was his first year. And people want to look at, he got mauled. He got overwhelmed by Aaron Donald. That's one game out of the whole regular season. I thought he was okay. He wasn't that bad. He's only going to get better. Gabe Jackson's over there. Brandon Shell, I think he's super underrated, but he just could not stay healthy last year. He missed, 4 or 5 games. He's going to be, there another year in the system. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully Russ Wilson doesn't hold on to the football for so long all the time. I think, yes, offensive line is going to be okay. As far as the defense is, the pass rush is loaded. I mean, we look at the second half of last year, Seattle was top 5 in almost every single category. Granted, yes, it was against a whole bunch of weak opponents with subpar, below average quarterback play, but I mean, we saw how the defense played. We look at the fact that they were so awful the first half of last year. Anything you see in the second half is just a win. And so they weren't just locking guys up. They were shutting teams down. Teams weren't scoring touchdowns. I think there was a 3-week stretch in teams in which they didn't allow a single team to score over 20 points. And so I don't care how putrid those offenses were. What they did was what they did. And so, hopefully Seattle's able to re-sign Jamal, but the pass rush is loaded. That's going to be able to mask some of the deficiencies on the back end, because I think that the biggest weakness for Seattle right now, especially defensively, is on the back end, is in the secondary. But you mask some of that by having a loaded pass rush. You don't have a superstar pass rusher per se, but you have a Carlos Dunlap. You have a Puna Ford who's going to get better. You have Kerry Hyder. You have Benson Mayowa. You have a stable rotation. We didn't need Arden Smith. Linebacking core, still one of the best in football. I don't got to get into that. Jamal Adams, 9.5 sacks in only 12 games. He would have went well above 10 if he had played all 16 games. And so let's not forget what he brings to the table as a pass rusher. The pass rush, I think, is absolutely loaded. The linebacking core was still amongst the best in the league. Quandre Diggs is underrated at safety. He made his first Pro Bowl. Hopefully he also gets an extension. And I think there's potential in some of the guys in the secondary. Still remains to be seen, but Trey Brown, I like what he brings to the table. Hopefully Kelly Witherspoon can stay healthy. He was PFF's, number 3 ranked corner last year when he was on the field. And so there's a lot of potential there. DJ Reed, hopefully he can build off what he did in the second half of last season. I'm not going to say the defense is Super Bowl caliber, but it's definitely one on its way.
Pop the brakes, Guru. I know you want to hop in here, but I want to break up the
Seattle. I want your boy to go. I want him to go next. I want him to go. Because he always talk about you talk trash about all you want now. Who you want to talk trash about?
I'm going to break up the Seattle love here first. So I'm going to let Dwayne jump in. Have the Seahawks done enough on that O-line and the back end of their defense to be called legit Super Bowl contenders?
First of all, I'm saving all my trash for the Arizona segment. I've got a lot of trash to talk about Arizona Cardinals, so I'm saving all my trash for that. But have the Seattle Seahawks done enough to address the O-line and the defense? No. And it's not really it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with having a mediocre offensive line. The Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl last year with a mediocre offensive line. Now, they got absolutely clobbered, but they made it to the Super Bowl. It is not impossible to win a football game with a mediocre offensive line. The issue is, as Steezy alluded to, Russell Wilson just holds the ball too long. And I get it, he's good at extending plays, all that stuff, but eventually, just throw it away, dude. There's only so much you can do to extend a play. After a while, you just got to throw it away, take it as a loss, regroup on the next down. Now, I don't really have anything to say about the offensive line. My focus is on the defense because, let's be honest, despite the fact that the Seattle defense was very, very good in the second half of the season, albeit against very, very bad opponents, if it weren't for the existence of the Dallas Cowboys, the Seattle Seahawks would have had the worst defense in the NFL last season for much of the season, at least the top half of the season. But that's nothing new. The Seattle Seahawks haven't really had that elite, that really good shut them down defense since the Legion of Boom ended. This has just been what we've been accustomed to seeing out of Seattle, and it's worked. So there's no real reason to get up in arms and complain because it's worked. As Guru said before we started the show, as long as they have playoff Russ, it doesn't really matter anyway. Because at the end of the day, it's going to come back. At the end of the day, it's always going to come down to quarterback play. And Russell Wilson is top 5. He's the third best quarterback in the league today. He's the third best quarterback and the best quarterback in the league today. I still believe that. I don't give a damn about Tom Brady. I don't give a damn about Dak Prescott. I don't give a damn about Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. No. It's Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. Not in that order, but those are the best. Those are the three best quarterbacks in this league by and large, and it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear anything else about it. Like, and I get it. He's not as flashy as maybe a Patrick Mahomes. He's not maybe as physical as a Josh Allen. He might not be as lethal mentally as a Tom Brady. But Russell Wilson, with all the chips on the line, if I want a quarterback to go out there in a fourth quarter on an overtime situation and win me a football game after Aaron Rodgers, I'd pick Russell Wilson. So I don't. It doesn't matter what the defense is doing. Doesn't matter what the offensive line is doing. Of course, the old saying is offense win games and defense win championships. Yeah, that's what that's baloney. That's baloney because the Packers haven't had great defenses and well, we haven't won championships, but we've been pretty good. So I don't think the O-line is going to be an issue this season. I don't think the defense is really going to be an issue this season, even because despite the terrible defensive play, they were able to make it to the postseason last season. They were able to make it to the division. They were able to make it to the playoff. They were able to win the division. So. And I don't think it'll be an issue. I think the issue is going to be whether or not Russell Wilson has come off of his high horse, and I think he has. I think he has. I think the dispute in the beginning of the season, the off season was warranted. I think it's resolved. I think we'll be fine as long as Russell Wilson gets the ball out of his hands in a timely manner. They'll be fine. But this is the Seahawks division to lose. Like they're gonna go out. They'll probably win like 12, 13 games. They'll win the division. They'll get like the third seed in the NFC. They'll make it to the divisional round and lose to the Packers or something. I don't know. The Seahawks are fine. The Seahawks are fine.
Mr. Film Room, I know you've been chomping at the bit. So, take a question. Have your Seahawks done enough in the offseason, whether draft, whether free agency? Have they done enough on your offensive line and defense contend for title?
Absolutely. With a straight face. First of all, they did enough, but Russell still staying. That's more than enough. Like that's enough. Anything else is just whipped cream. Like but
yeah.
Seem like the last 3 to 4 years, right? Like y'all know me, man. I love me my beautiful ladies. You know what I'm saying? And Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are a beautiful woman. Like, you expect them to come out, step out the house. You like, pop, pop, pop. They always fly. They always on point. You know what I'm saying? Just always make up on right. You anticipate it. So one day, you know what I'm saying? One day, all of a sudden, we didn't come out looking right. So you're like, oh, shit, what is going on? See, that's why I look like the media always talk about their Seattle offensive line. You know what I'm saying? It's like got nothing else to talk about. It's like, let's talk about the offensive line. And I look at this like this, right? So I'm not a numbers guy, but only on money. So I'm like the NFC West, right? Just thinking in my head, writing things down. Best quarterback in the division. Yeah, best in the division. Seattle. Best coach in the division. Seattle. Like I keep seeing all this best, and then all of a sudden, now what? People want to talk about negative about Seattle because they don't want to talk about all this good shit. Let's talk about the negative. What's so bad about Seattle? Oh, let me guess. They don't have a Legion of Boom defense no more. They don't have a historically great defense. Oh, that's bad check mark. Ooh, because they have success, not because they have great success, every defense got to be like that defense. Come on, man. We know that shit don't work like that. That's not the way it works, man. So it's the offensive league. Y'all got to realize, watching films, who are the best offensive coordinators in all football? And where are they located? What division? What division, my friends? So you telling me the three best offensive minds in football, that's what we call them geniuses. Y'all said that. You do the same thing. You're telling me they go against PK defense 2 times a season. For how many years? They can't freaking figure that shit out. And it's PK fault because he's great offensive minds. You guys said geniuses. Oh, man. Y'all, sometimes the media just baffle me. That's what it's called evolution. You get better. So you know what happened? You know why? You know why the 49ers hired Kyle Shanahan to beat Pete Carroll's defense? Do you know why they hired Sean McVay to beat Pete Carroll's defense? Do you know why they hired Kliff Kingsbury to beat Pete Carroll's defense? Dude,
I actually don't know why they hired.
I was gonna say I think the 4 of us combined could do a better job in Arizona than what Kliff Kingsbury has done in Arizona. I'm just saying.
Real talk.
Same Arizona. Well, basically what I'm getting at is You know, sometimes you got to pick and say, you got to pick on something. You know, you might have ass and titties. You like, oh, guess you got a big head. You got to call on something. The offensive line has never been the reason why the Seahawks go to the playoff. The offensive line has never been the reason why the Seahawks are not contender year in, year out. It's just the reason why people talk about. But at the end of the day, what I see the best receiving core in the division. I see the best running back in the division. You know what I'm saying? Now I see one of the best offensive line in the division. Simply, we're not there yet. I'm not going to lie. We're not there yet. You know, but one thing I do love about what Pete is doing, how he's adjusting, I love it. If you can't beat him, you know what you do? You join him. I'm the offensive coordinator, so we're going to run y'all Shanahan LaFleur scheme. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're running right now. So you know what that means? We're going to have inside info how to stop y'all mother effing.
Oh, man.
Clearly, again, somebody's fan base is just not about it. So, again, here comes back Guru. But I think we can all get it. Seattle has done enough because they just brought back Russell Wilson. So then, Steezy, again, part of those bad off-season headlines that you've been generating there in Seattle are the contract disputes surrounding Dwayne Brown and Jamal Adams. I guess y'all kind of answered it. So let's get through this segment very quickly. Nothing longer than a minute. Are these contract disputes going to be some sort of distractions for the Seahawks?
If they don't end by the time the preseason ends, then yes, it's going to be a distraction. But until then, I'm not worried at all. You know, Dwayne Brown, Russell Wilson went out and vouched for Dwayne Brown. Just because Russell Wilson stood up and said something, Seahawks going to get it done. I'm not worried. Jamal, they offered him $38 million guaranteed. He wants 40. They'll figure it out. I'm not worried.
Same question, Guru. Quick in
Not at all. No worries at all, man. We all know what Schneider and Pete are, man. Like, this is gonna get one good sign. People got to realize once those guys are actually in camp, they might not participate, but they're in the building. That's the only sign you didn't know. It's just a matter of time. It's just like
Exactly.
I said. It's like what kind of apples you want over here in Seattle. You want a green apple, you want a red apple, man. It's just your preference.
And close it up, Dwayne. Will these contract disputes create a distraction in Seattle?
No, we do this every year. When Zeke wanted to hold out, we thought that was going to be a distraction. It wasn't. We thought Aaron Rodgers' incident this offseason was going to be a distraction. It wasn't. Like we do this all the time. It's going to be fine. Even if they don't come to some sort of agreement by the time we kick off for week 1, it's going to be fine. These are grown men that get paid to play this sport professionally. They have the mental capacity to withstand if two players want more money now. I think that Dwayne Brown, if he wants to hold out for a little extra dollars, he deserves to do that. Me personally, I'm not really the biggest Jamal Adams fan, but Jamal Adams thinks he's worth extra $2 million, and he thinks sitting out is worth it, then that's probably what we'll do. Will it become a distraction? No. Anything outside of the lines of the football field doesn't matter when you're on the football field, and that's just how sports work. No, they'll be fine.
All right. Well, I agree with y'all. They will be fine, but the fourth team division, will they be fine? Because we mentioned this not too long ago, and you are clasping and rubbing your hands, Dwayne, so clearly you want to go, so I'll start with you. For all that the Cardinals have, and they seem to have a lot, we know coaching matters in this sport. Is Kliff Kingsbury that guy that can lead the Cardinals to the playoffs and ultimately a playoff win at least?
I don't like doing this. I don't like being political because I think that at all times there's always Kingsbury was hired out of Texas Tech. He had a losing record. In what world, and this is not a rhetorical question, I actually want to answer from you guys. In what world would a black quarterback from college with a losing record get hired to coach an NFL team?
Sorry, it would never happen.
That would never happen.
Unfortunately.
That would never happen. None of the teams, none of the 32 national teams in the National Football League would look at a guy in college that's black and say, hey, you have a losing record, but I want you to come coach my team. That would never happen. So can this team make the playoffs with Kliff Kingsbury? No, and it's not just because Kliff Kingsbury sucks. It's also because they're the worst team in the division. But let's just stick with the Kliff Kingsbury hate because it makes me feel good. This is just this is just not. You can clearly see that he doesn't know what he's doing. Here's the thing, and one of the things that kind of bugs me, I'm just being honest. One of the things that bugs me, and this is what bugs me about Urban Meyer being hired for Jacksonville. When college coaches are hired to coach in the NFL, they like to think that they can run college plays and have a college style offense and think that this works. No, these aren't they're not children, but these aren't children running up and down the field on scholarship, also pursuing a degree. These are grown men who do this for their life. This is how they eat. This is how they pay their bills. This is how they feed their families. This ain't working. Like it's just not. And I don't know what the issue is. I can promise you though that if Kliff Kingsbury was black, he'd have been fired some time ago. There's no way. What's the name of the coach that was fired before him? He got one season. He got one season and he was done. And Kliff Kingsbury has gotten 2 and he's not done much better. Like, no, Kliff Kingsbury is not leading. Thank you, Wilkes. Like, Kliff Kingsbury is not leading the Cardinals to the playoffs. He's not leading the Jets to the playoffs. He's not leading there's not a team in the NFL that he can lead to the playoffs. There is not a team. There's not a Pop Warner team. There's not there's not an AAU team. There's not a college football team, a middle school team, a high school team, a rec team, a local pickup team on the park that Kliff Kingsbury can't coach a fantasy football team to the playoffs. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Like Kliff Kingsbury sucks. Like, he absolutely sucks. Now, is he as bad as Dan Campbell? Maybe not, because Dan Campbell sucks too. But if I have to pick between a guy that wears a race helmet to a press conference and a pretty boy that looks like he just washed up on a beach somewhere, I'd pick Dan Campbell because Dan Campbell has some personality. Kliff Kingsbury, seriously, he makes my skin crawl. Now, there's a better term I would like to use. This is a family show, and I'm not going to use it because my family's probably watching this, and I don't want to hear them say these words. But there's an area on my body that itches when Kliff Kingsbury, when I see his face. And we're all gentlemen here, and I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. No, Kliff Kingsbury isn't leading anybody to the playoffs in any lifetime. If Kliff Kingsbury wants to go to the playoffs, he should buy a ticket. That's the only way he can. It's the only way he can. Buy it.
And also, you forgot Dan Campbell is going to play out somebody's knees at least.
That's interesting. I would love to see a head coach die on the field and bite somebody's kneecaps. I don't want to get some pretty boy from Texas Tech on. What are we doing?
So, yes, Steve, what are we doing? Because Kliff Kingsbury is entering year 3 in Arizona. Is he the guy that can take them to the playoffs?
No, but if anyone's going to take him to the playoffs, it's Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is a dark horse to win NFL MVP. And if for some reason, for whatever reason, the Cardinals end up making the playoffs, it's not going to be because of Kliff Kingsbury. If anything, if he doesn't want to buy a ticket to the playoffs, he's going to have to ride the coattails of Kyler Murray because that's the only other way of making the NFL playoffs. This might sound crazy, but I can honestly see all 4 teams coming out the NFC West. I don't care how unlikely it might seem on paper, but I can see all 4 teams making the playoffs. But to answer the question, I mean, man, Dwayne said it beautifully. He said it perfectly. I don't really have anything else to add. He didn't do it in college. How's he going to do it in the NFL? So, answer the question, no.
And there's a reason why I save Guru for last, because I know how he feels about Kliff Kingsbury. But the question has to be posed to him anyway. Take it away, my friend.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Why y'all gonna do that about my gangster Kliff, man? Come on, man. Dude, I like Kliff, man. I'm borderline. It's like we're not to the love yet, but it will cook. But if he says he love me, I'll say it back. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's close. You know what I'm saying? I won't say it first, but if you say it first, I'll say it back. That's how I am with Kliff Kingsbury, man. So Dwayne, man, that was tough, brother. My man can't coach a fantasy football team, bro. It's like, do y'all remember Arizona record last year, man? I think
8-8?
8-8, right?
I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Historically,
I could coach Arizona. I could turn on Madden 22 on my. I could turn on Madden 22 right now, put it on all Madden, and simulate an 8-8 season. I can do that from the comfort of my home, out in my draw.
That's the difference. Okay, you know the difference is you're not looking into Pete Carroll's eyes 2 times a year. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking into Sean McVay 2 times a year. You're not standing next to Kyle Shanahan too. So that's what I'm getting at. Look, this dude, out of all those coaches, look at the priority order in the coaching in that division, bro. Let's just look at the order, right? This man, yes, he has the least experience, correct? Right? He has the least winning, correct? So now this man went to the organization that's really the worst in the division, correct? So everything seemed like, okay, you got the worst out of the 4 coach. You got the worst team in the division. And now, Steve, you just said, hey, they might make it to the playoff next year. You don't even think they might make it to the playoff next year. And you guys are like, Kyler Murray's the MVP. What y'all failing to realize is, my man Kliff Kingsbury, yes, it's chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Even I think it's chaotic. Don't get it twisted. I'm trying to figure it out to make sense here because I like him. You know what I mean? The only thing I can say is he's getting the best athlete. I might not agree with it. But I see where he's going at. You just want to get the, just like the collegiate mindset, get the most athletes on the field. You have, it's like, if I have 10 better athletes and you only have 8 athletes, then I'm going to win more than you are. That's the college game. That's a high school game. But in the league, it's different. It's a little bit different. So I'm like this. If you're going against Pete Carroll, McVay, and Kyle Shanahan, my definition for success for you is you got to make the playoff either every year or every 3 years. Just like Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. People say Mike Zimmer is a hell of a coach. He makes the playoff every 2 years because he goes against Aaron Rodgers.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wait a second. Are we comparing Kliff Kingsbury to Mike Zimmer?
So you saying Mike Zimmer's a hell of a coach?
I'm saying Mike Zimmer's a better coach than Kliff Kingsbury.
What has Mike Zimmer done?
I would pick Mike Zimmer over Kliff Kingsbury any day of the week.
I know you would. And no disrespect, I love it. Hey, Mike Zimmer, I know one thing. The Minnesota Vikings had one of the best rosters the last 6 years.
That is true.
Yeah. 6 years. And you know what Mike Zimmer did with it? And you know this, Mike Zimmer is a defensive genius. I've never seen the Minnesota Vikings have a top 2-3 defense in the fucking league. I'm sorry. And I've never seen the Minnesota Vikings be a threat with a so-called Mike Zimmer. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So
they were a threat the year the year that the Super Bowl was in Minnesota. They just
but like this, I'm just getting.
But I understand what you're saying.
Look what we're getting at. Arizona started the first year. You see, it's an exception. The first year, I believe they won 4 games or something, 4 or 5 games. This year, they won 8 games, bro. And obviously, the addition of J.J. Watt, the addition of A.J. Green, it's like he has professional players now. You know what I'm saying? He has guys that's been in the league that actually won. You remember guys like they never won? You have guys that know how to win, guys that are coached on the field. He's adding those type of guys now to eliminate some of his deficiencies. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a guy like AJ Green, you have D-Hop. Now you have guys that's smart enough to make changes that, you know, that maybe Kliff Kingsbury can't do. So I like what he's doing. I feel like he's one of those guys who realizes the situation, so he's getting smarter people around him. That's what I see. You know?
Good point.
So for me, I think Guru actually answered the question, and I'll chime in here. And inadvertently so, because what do you say? Pete Carroll has been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. Kyle Shanahan has been to 2 Super Bowls. Sean McVay has been to a Super Bowl. So you're telling me the worst, and forget how we feel about Kliff Kingsbury personally. You're telling me the worst coach in the division is going to make it out of the toughest division to make the playoffs? I don't know, because if you're in a division with McVay, with Shanahan, and then Pete Carroll, who is one bad play call away from being a 2-time Super Bowl champ, I'm not seeing it.
Like this. I'm going out on a limb because I want you all to say it on your show. I ain't going to say this on my show yet, but I'm going to say it on your show. Your show. I'll tell you this.
Did we lose Guru again? Sounds so. Until Guru gets back,
Let
Steezy,
me to say it, man. They try to, hey, you try to kill me out my connection. Don't worry, I'm gonna still fight because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Kliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals will finish ahead of your boy, Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams this season. Record this, mark it. I want y'all to play this when the season ends. To be like, that's why I'm the guru. Y'all heard this. The Cardinals will have a better record than your Matthew Stafford loving ass, Sean McVay, and all those people. You know, all those dudes. Yes.
Wow. I did not see that.
Man.
So,
That's a
Stevie,
good.
wow. I don't know even how to get here. We know the Cardinals, as much as Kingsbury is their coach, they went out, as Guru said, they got J.J. Watt, they got A.J. Green, and they got a guy who basically gave Patriots a Super Bowl in Malcolm Butler. Are you impressed with these off-season signings, or is it much ado about nothing?
I'm definitely impressed. I mean, you know, I want to give them some of their flowers. They traded for Rodney Hudson, who I think is a top 3 center in all of football, and I think that he's still in his prime. You know, one of the problems last year on offensive line was they didn't have a center that could adequately block. And, you know, they couldn't block for Kyler Murray up there, especially in the interior. And so you saw that by bringing in Rodney Hudson for pennies on a dollar. What was it? They traded a 3rd-round pick? That was a spectacular move. That was a great move. Not only that, they brought in James Conner, who can complement Chase Edmonds. Now, James Conner can't seem to stay healthy, but the 1 year he was healthy in place of Le'Veon Bell, he looked like a true featured back in the National Football League. And so, you know, there's that. You're banking on improvement from Kyler Murray. A.J. Green might be past his prime, but he's not going to serve as a number 1, number 2, or number 3 receiver in Arizona. You draft a Rondale Moore who's squatting 600 pounds despite being 5'7", who I think has a lot of potential. He can do a lot of things for this offense. Defensively, J.J. Watt, I don't think he's that much past his prime. I mean, you pair him up with the Chandler Jones. These two have combined for the 2 highest sack totals since 2012. Malcolm Butler, I don't know if he's an upgrade over Patrick Peterson, but he's gonna provide a dent there in the secondary. They drafted what was his name? Zach Collins from UCLA. I think he's gonna Zaven Collins. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, bro. Zaven Collins. Isaiah Simmons is still there. I think they're building something on defense, and so the additions that they brought in, it complements a lot of those pieces that they already have. And so Arizona, I think they're a wild card. They're gonna be a dark horse, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't finish last in the NFC West.
Same thing to do, Dwayne. Do you think that this is fluff, or do you believe in the off-season moves that the Arizona Cardinals have made?
From a business perspective, from a wanting to make your team better perspective, all of the moves that they made this offseason were fantastic. But the 4 of us have all sat here for the past hour or so and openly expressed that the Cardinals are still, by and large, the worst team in this division. Here's what I'll say. I think that. So this is what I mean. Do I think that adding J.J. Watt was a bonus? Yes. Do I think that adding another reliable target in A.J. Green is helpful to Kyler Murray's success in year 3? Absolutely. Do I think that the addition of Malcolm Butler is great? I think they had a very underrated draft class. I don't think the Cardinals get a lot of credit for the draft class they put together because, as Steezy mentioned, their draft class is very, very solid. What's the point of having all the talent if you don't have someone that knows what to do with it? It's like putting a movie together with like Idris Elba and Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson and The Rock, and then you get me to direct it. The movie's gonna suck. Like the movie's gonna suck.
What do you expect from year 2 with a rookie quarterback? I can't take it no more. You got a rookie quarterback last year, and then year 2 they went 8-8. What do you want? You want a Super Bowl from a new coach?
No. Wait.
You think Justin Herbert and Brandon Staley are going to win a Super Bowl?
Wait a second. Wait, no. First of all, I think that first of all, no, I don't expect a Super Bowl out of the Cardinals. I don't expect. What I'm saying is, what did Kliff Kingsbury do to earn his job in the first place is what I'm saying.
See, that's your beef. That's your main beef.
Okay. Now, wait a second. Hold on. I'm not done. Wait a second. Okay. I think there are, at the time of his hiring, I think there were better options on the table. Now, it's not my decision. You hired Kliff Kingsbury. Fine. I'm not saying that Kliff Kingsbury has to go out and go 13-3 like Matt LaFleur did in his first season. I'm not saying he has to have a winning record. I'm not saying Kliff Kingsbury.
Aaron Rodgers. Don't say Matt LaFleur. He done nothing. Aaron Rodgers, go ahead.
Sure. What I'm saying is I'm not expecting Kliff Kingsbury to be the best coach in the league. I think that the point that I'm making is if you're the Arizona Cardinals and you're very aware of, as you mentioned very eloquently, that you have one Pete Carroll who's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one Sean McVay that's been to Super Bowl, one Kyle Shanahan that's been to 2 Super Bowls. Kliff Kingsbury is going to be the equalizer in all this. Kliff Kingsbury is going to be the person that brings your team somewhat level to these other 3 amazing football minds. I don't think this is not a. I think Kliff Kingsbury is good at his. I'm not saying Kliff Kingsbury is a bad coach. I'm not even saying Kliff Kingsbury is a bad person. I'm just saying I don't think that Kliff Kingsbury is the right coach for this team. I think that there are other coaches that could take this team with this talent and make them winners. 8-8 is nice, but you know who else went 8-8 for forever? Jason Garrett, and Jason Garrett sucked at his job.
Wait, bro, take away your emotion because right now you're.
This isn't me being emotional.
No, dude, you just said it. I don't like you because all about the PCA. He's black, or he's white. That's what I'm getting. That's what this is.
No, it's not. It's not.
Listen, listen, real quick. In the NFL, in any professional sport, it's called a recycle. There's losing coach. I got a losing record. They get recycled. It's every sport. Bill Belichick, before he got hired again with the Patriots, had a losing coaching record.
There's a difference between recycling and being promoted.
Steve Carroll had a losing coaching record. So don't talk about the record, bro. It's not about that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not making it about that. I'm simply saying I'm not making it about that. I'm just.
We do have a time limit, so let us cycle through quickly. Guru, let me get your thoughts. Do you like what the Arizona Cardinals have done in terms of their offseason additions?
Dude, I love it. See, I love what he's doing because I feel like when you're building a program, you know what I'm saying? It takes time to build a program. It's not 1 year, it's not 2 years. It takes about 3 to 5 years. That's when the program is getting built. But you also want to see the ascending. Last year, I saw the Cardinals started 7-2 pre-injury to Kyler Murray. I saw that record. I was looking. I don't know what your TV saw. I saw that. You know what I'm saying? And then I saw the banged up shoulder, and all of a sudden, Kyler Murray, you know what happened because without Kyler, they went down. But I saw 7-2. I saw it. So which showed me beef up the offensive line, get it straightened up, which they did, which was a smart move. The reason why they didn't make the playoff last year was because their line got into that was a major issue, especially the center position. Because if Kyler Murray's shoulder would have been not smashed in week 9, damn to with all my life, they would have made the playoff. But now they got themselves Rodney Hudson. I love that move by the GM. I love that by Steve Kim. I love that. They identify every weakness you could identify. And that's why even you could admit they did an outstanding job. So now I see it's just like the stock market. First year, 4 wins. Second year, 8 wins. Bro, you take it away, take the name out of Kingsbury, you just put you like the year 3, it's just like what's the next? The next step, which is 10 wins, man. The Cardinals are going to win 10 games this year, man. You see it. I saw the same process with the Carolina Panthers. They do it, Matt Rule. You just see it, man. Unless you want to say Matt Rule stopped too, because the same things happened in Carolina with Arizona.
So then, Guru, after all of this Kliff Kingsbury promotion that you've done here on the show, the final segment now then, and I'm going to start with you, Guru. Who wins the division and why?
Oh, yeah, easy. Who was the division this year? I don't know. I love my homers. I love my Seahawks, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely see Kyle Shanahan and 49ers. They just got a little bit more depth than we do. You know what I mean? And I think year 2 of that offense is when really Russ is going to take the next level. I believe collectively wise, the 49ers will win the division. Now, will they win the Super Bowl? No. Do I think we're going to get deeper in the playoffs than they do? Yes. But I see the 49ers winning the division. I see the Seahawks coming in second place. And obviously, I see Kingsbury and one of the most fun team in the playoff, the Arizona Cardinals, entering the first with Kyler Murray, baby. And Kyler Murray. And I'm going to come back on this show, Dwayne, and I'm going to be like, kiss Kingsbury's buttocks in his house.
Let me quickly say this. Because if what I'm hearing correctly from Guru, it means he predicts that the LA Rams will not make the playoffs. If I'm hearing that correctly.
Correct.
Oh.
I predict that coming fourth. Fourth in the division.
Woo. I love it. Easy. Same question. Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the 49ers. Who wins this division and why?
I'll just say this real quick. Beginning of the offseason, make an appearance. I forgot what show, but I also did predict the Rams to come in last. But like I also said on this show, I think all 4 teams can make the playoffs. And I don't think that no more, Justin. So just for the record, I just want to put that out there. If I'm not going to pick Seattle, I'm also going to go San Fran. But I prefer Seattle actually not to win the division. Just because if Seattle doesn't win the division, they come into the playoffs with more of a chip on their shoulder. And I think with the type of talent, with the type of guys that we have in the locker room, the dogs that we have, I think Seattle will play even better if they play with a chip on their shoulder. So I don't care about winning the division. Seattle won that last year. We got bounced in the first round. Yes, it's the best division of football. Yes, it means something to win the best division of football. But with a team like Seattle, I think they perform better when they have a chip on their shoulder. And so I'm not going to pick Seattle to win the division. I'm going to pick San Fran. I think Seattle finishes a close second. They'll still be in the playoffs. And just like Guru said, right on the money, hit the nail on the head. I only care about the team that's going to have more playoff success. And I think Seattle's going to have more playoff success than the Cardinals, than the Rams, and the Niners. So they can have the division. They can have the head-to-head matchups. They can have the regular season dubs. I don't care. I only care about rings. I care about Super Bowls. I care about playoff dubs. And so there you have it. San Fran wins the division, but Seattle makes it further. And I can see them maybe even making the Super Bowl. Straight like that.
What life I'm living, 2 Seattle Seahawks fans telling me that San Francisco will win the division. I did not see this coming at all. So, Dwayne, to close out, who wins the hardest division in all of football and why?
First off, before I answer the question, I just want to say much love to Guru. I definitely appreciate it. That was a nice heated debate there. It's nice to. This is Justin knows this. This is my first time talking sports in like a week. So all of this feels really, really good. Heated debate feels good. I don't think the Seahawks are going to win the division. I think the Seahawks, I'm not going to lie to you, 3 weeks ago I had the Seahawks third in the division. I'm not going to lie. I did. But I agree with you guys. I think the 49ers are going to win the division. And I think that really just has a lot to do with when you look at as Guru said a little bit when he was answering the question, when you look at what the 49ers bring as far as depth, they've got the deepest team in the division. They have several players at every major skill position that can really do damage. Like I said earlier, they have 3 very fantastic running backs that are each good at their own little thing. When you put them together, it's one fantastic running back altogether. And that's what makes them so great. They have a phenomenal wide receiving core, including their tight end, George Kittle. Of course, they've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who is serviceable, can get the job done. He's not going to lose you a game, but he's not going to win you a game either. And I think really, ultimately, the difference between the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks is going to be one game. And that's really all it is. Whether it's a game against each other or just one game, it's going to be one game. This division is always close. There's never a glaring discrepancy between first and second, or really first and fourth for that matter. I think it's going to come down to one game. I think the Seahawks are going to get off to a little bit of a slow start. And I think that's going to be the difference. But I agree with Steezy and Guru. The Seahawks are definitely going to have the deeper run. I'm poised for a Packers-Seahawks NFC Championship game. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking at. But yeah, that's I got the 49ers winning, Seahawks in second. And not a lot of people know this, but Russell Wilson actually plays really well on the road. He's one of the few quarterbacks in the league in the playoffs that plays absolutely phenomenally on the road. I personally think he likes playing on the road better than he likes playing at home because it's a different feel. And yeah, the Seahawks will be fine. Doesn't matter who wins the division, because at the end of the day, the Seahawks, they'll have the most success when it's all said and done.
So who coming in last?
Cardinals. The Cardinals.
So that was obvious.
I think the Cardinals will be 9-7 this season. Just
so another improvement.
Yeah, they added talent. They added talent.
10-7 because of the extra regular season game.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, not 10-7. No, 9-8. I'm sorry. I think they're gonna win 9 games. Is what I'm saying. And it's not my. This is what I'm saying. I know we had to get out of here. I think that a lot of that has to do with the talent. I think the point that I was making wasn't so much that Kliff Kingsbury sucks, although I think he sucks. I think it's just there were better options available at the time that could get you level on that game planning mind with the other 3 coaches in the division. But we can go down that rabbit hole for forever. I'll probably have on my show.
That's the same thing my best friend told me, and I'm still single. You know what I'm saying? The grass is greener. There's always better options. And look at me now. I'm still single. There ain't no better option, bro. If you have that option, stick with it, dog. Stick with it.
I don't believe I had to bring all these guys here to make this point. And one of the reasons I bring Guru on the show is that he educates me about football. A very simple point to educate me. Before I go though, NFC title game, I have it as a rematch. Sorry, Seattle fans, but I do have a rematch. Simply because I think the Packers have an easy route to win the NFC North. And I think it's going to be Buccaneers and the Packers again. This is no anti-Seattle love because I'm about to say this. And I can't believe that Guru did not make the point that I'm about to make. Who has the best general manager in the division again? Guys, remind me. Seattle, right? Who has the best head coach in the division again?
Pete Carroll, Seattle.
Who has the best quarterback in the division again? Remind me, please.
Seattle.
Russ.
So all these things tell me if you have the best general manager, you have the best head coach, you have the best quarterback, this should tell me the class of your division should be none other than the team who owns John Schneider, Pete Carroll, and Russell Wilson. And then, it's hurtful that a couple months ago that Guru was the person who enlightened me this and didn't repeat this. But again, when you have the best quarterback in the division, the best head coach in the division, and the best general manager in the division, chances are you are going to win the division, but that's just me. And well out of time, I can see and hear Marsha just eating away at her fingernails and just cursing me behind the scenes. So, guys, I want to thank you all so very much for coming on the show and making it an awesome one, because if we're going to talk about the best division in football, then you have to bring the best guests. So for Steezy, before I let you go, first, Steezy, tell the fans how to find you and what you have coming up next.
Man, it was a pleasure being on. First of all, I just want to get that out the way, Justin. And Neil, shout out Marsha. I know you're watching. Thank you so much. It's truly an honor being on every single time. Wish I could do it more often. But before you even think about looking at me or looking up into me or looking me up, be sure to subscribe, follow my guy, This Justin, all social media platforms. Hit that subscribe, drop a like, smash the comment section, do all that good stuff. Guru's Film Room on Instagram. Man, if you want to really get to know football in depth, Guru's Film Room is going to be your page. And then my guy, Dwayne, right here. I'm sorry, I don't know what your socials are, bro, but definitely be sure to show my brother here some love. And then you can find me at Steezy A Smith, primarily on YouTube, but all other social medias, SteezyASmith. I do talk a lot of Seahawks football, but I like to think of myself as more versatile than just that. I mean, I go into the rest of the NFL, NBA, do a little bit of boxing. My team and I want to do baseball. I want to start talking some soccer. And so we're well-rounded. Don't just expect a whole bunch of Seahawks content on my page. Expect all sports, really. But much love, and God bless y'all.
Same thing, Guru. Please tell me people how to find you and what you have coming up next, because I know this is your season.
Man, look, this is my season. I keep telling people, I'll let you all know I'm crazy, man. So this ain't for the, for the conservative. I just tell you straight. If you're used to listening to the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, all that, then you know what? You coming to the wrong dude. I'm a VH1 guy. You know what I mean? I'm an MTV guy. So that's why we roll dirty. So if you want to raw and uncut, I don't leave no holds barred, man. I break down all the films. I'm talking about the way I do it. It's just like you talking to the homeboys. I don't do it another, oh my God, you plug a gap. No, I do it for the layman's term because it's all entertainment, and I love to do that, man. So you can find me usually on my 99% of the time on YouTube, man. Just search me out, man. It's called World of Sports Network. You know what I mean? And I do all the breakdown in films. And check this out. I also do the Seahawks, but I'm African. You know what I'm saying? I believe in having multiple wives, so I got multiple teams. You know what I'm saying? I got Washington football team, so it's part of my culture. So I could have multiple teams. Y'all Americans, y'all got married and have one wife. That's y'all. But I am African, man, Muslim African. So I got 5 different teams, dog.
I don't know how else to follow that up, but my brother Dwayne Marcus, please let the people know how to find G.O.A.T Talk Podcast and let them know what you have coming up next there.
I just want to say I'm usually the one that brings all the jokes and stuff to the show, but I've been just completely outclassed by Guru from start to finish tonight. But it's always a pleasure to come on the show. Like I said, this is my first time talking sports in a little over a week. I've been out of practice a little bit, dealing with some personal things, but I'm back. I'm ready. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GTP Marcus, and TikTok too. I just downloaded TikTok because why not? And of course, you can find me on YouTube at Go Talk Podcast. A lot of big stuff coming up. SummerSlam is this Saturday, so that will be the first official return video for the podcast. And of course, season 2 of the Go Talk Podcast kicks off the week before week 1 kicks off in the NFL with a live show on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for all that cool stuff. But just once again, it's a pleasure to be on the show with you, Justin, as always, and nice to work with these two amazing guys, and Guru and Steezy as well.
Well, we are fresh out of time. So for Steezy A. Smith, for Guru's Film Room, for Dwayne Marcus of the G.O.A.T Talk Podcast, I am the Justin of this Justin signing out. Thank you so very, very much for tuning in. We are very doubtful for show next week, but hopefully, and we'll give you a little sneak peek, hopefully 2 weeks from now, we are going to have a massive, massive guest. Neil doesn't know, Marsha doesn't know, but we are hopeful to bring a huge, huge guest 2 weeks from now. So same back channel 2 weeks from now. So again, for Steezy A. Smith, for Guru, for Dwayne Marcus, the G.O.A.T Talk Podcast, thank you so very much for tuning in, and good night, everyone.
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. The God's with the king, no matter if you're just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.